Okay, I see that people are joining. I'll just give it one more minute and we will start. Okay, welcome everyone. And allow me to introduce myself. My name is Filip Černý. I'm part of the product marketing team at Flowmon, which is now part of the Progress company. Together here with me is Martin Škoda, who is our product manager for the Flowmon ADS product. And in this webinar, we will look together at what's new with Flowmon ADS 12 and what is the outlook ahead for the rest of the year. So before we start, I would like to just share with you the news that Flowmon is now part of the Progress family. Sorry, so let's look at the agenda first. So we will have a short introduction, then I will give the word to Martin, who will tell us what's new with Flowmon ADS, what exciting new features that we've introduced, and then we will look for the outlook ahead, and then we will have time for some questions. I encourage you to please submit your questions during the webinar in the Q&A section in the panel below. Please don't write your question in the chat. That doesn't allow us to track the questions afterwards. So please put your questions in the Q&A section and we will answer them during the webinar as we can, or at the end after the webinar, there will be time to do so as well. So as part of the introduction, as I already mentioned, Flowmon is now part of the Progress family. So Progress is a global software company whose mission is to provide the best products to develop, deploy, and manage high-impact business application. So you might have already seen this in the news. This happened a couple months ago at the end of last year, and we are very excited with the integration. Part of the excitement is because among the Progress product portfolio was the product called WhatsApp Gold. WhatsApp Gold is the infrastructure monitoring tool that lets you know the availability of your network, if the devices are up or down. And during the short time that we've been part of the Progress family, we've already managed to do the first phase of the integration between Flowmon and WhatsApp Gold. And that is that within the WhatsApp Gold user interface, WhatsApp Gold customers can now see the Flowmon network operations and security operations dashboard. You can see it on this screen. For those who are familiar with the Flowmon solution, that this GUI looks a little bit different. Martin, can you go back, please? Thank you. The GUI looks a little bit different. This is how you can view the Flowmon network traffic analysis dashboard through WhatsApp Gold user interface. And that gives a great benefits to our customers because now you can have multiple view of the traffic and applications issue in one single pane of glass. We also written a blog describing this integration in much more detail. There is already a link in this presentation and we will share it with you afterwards as well. So that was just a brief amount of the information for the introduction. And now allow me to give the word to Martin Škoda, who is our expert on ADS, anomaly detection system, and will tell us now what's new. So Martin, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Filip. Once again, let me welcome you to this webinar. Thank you for your attendance. I'm Martin and I'm product owner for the Flowmon ADS. And we have recently released a new major version, ADS 12. This is already available as a beta, so all our beta participants can already try what I will show today. For the rest of you, the stable version is planned for the beginning of the May, so it's quite near. So before I will show you the news, I just want to mention the drivers for this version, what was our focus. and it was actually enhancement of the detection methods, because that's the most value that the ADS provides, and also focus on the system tuning and configuration, because the most of the value comes from the well-tuned system. So in order to get the most value for you, we want to make the system tuning and the configuration as easy as possible. Within a couple of months and a couple of releases, we incorporated a lot of customer feedback to the product. This includes the ADS 12, so you will probably see some features that you requested. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your feedback and feature enhancement request, because you help us make a better product. As I mentioned, we already released the ADS 12 as a beta, so some of our beta participants already tried the versions, and so far we have quite positive feedback. So I hope that all of you will also appreciate the changes that we made. So let's now check the changes. First of all, I will start with the detection methods. And we actually, in this area, have a new detection method that is able to detect random domains. So what is the story? Most of the NDR tools rely on the blacklist to detect some malicious communications. And yeah, this blacklist contains some known malicious domains, malicious IP addresses, etc., that are used by the threat actors to communicate with, for example, command and control servers to get some additional information after the initial access in the compromised network. So this is something that is used by many NDR tools, not excluding us. We also use the blacklist, but there is some delay before the domain gets listed into the blacklist, before the blacklists are distributed back to the tools to detect the malicious communications. So to make this detection of such incidents in real time, we focused on how to distinguish between the legitimate and malicious domains. So now we have the new detection method that is using various techniques, including machine learning, that can distinguish the legitimate domains between the randomly generated domains. So we are able to detect such domains that are mostly generated by the malware in order to communicate with the C2 servers. I will show you a short demonstration, but before that, I want to also mention what we did with the Tor detection method. You probably know that the Tor detection method was already available in the product, but we took it and basically rewritten the method to increase the accuracy, to make sure that you can rely on that method. Before I will tell what we did, this is just a quick reminder, basically what is the Tor network. I'm sure that most of you know, but just briefly summarize, Tor network is used for the anonymization of the communication. So some clients that want to be anonymized on the internet use, for example, Tor browser to communicate through the Tor network, which is basically a set of nodes to communicate with some target. This can be used by clients to be anonymized, or some people that need to bypass some restriction, for example, in some countries with repressions. But it can be also used by hackers or some people with malicious intents or the malware to hide their malicious activities. So we revised the method. There are new 2 submethods, so basically 2 use cases that we are able to detect. And first of them is actually incoming connection from the Tor network to our publicly available servers. So this case can mean this case can indicate some initial access attempts from the attackers to the organization network. That means that we want to mitigate such activity. So now the Tor detection method can detect the incoming connections from the Tor network. The second use case is basically the opposite direction. So within the organization network, there are some hosts probably malware infected, that is trying to bypass the security measures by using the Tor network. So from the organization network, they are trying to communicate with the malicious websites or C2 servers via the Tor network. This is something that is done to try in order to hide malicious activities, in order to bypass security measures. So this is also something that we want to be alerted on. All right, so let's check the demonstration. So here I have the ADS. I already have some detecting methods, but we will generate a new event. And for the random domain detection method, it's quite simple. I will just try to translate some randomly generated, or let's say randomly typed domain. So yeah, this is what I already did. It's not existing domain, so yeah, that's because I written some random letters, and I can do that again. So let's say this, and we will see that this will be detected as a random domain in the ADS in a couple of seconds. Okay, before it is detected, there's of course some delay because we need to get the flows from the exporter to the collector and detect the event. I will show you the Tor method, how it looks like. So this is an example of the first submethod of the Tor method, server access. So when our servers are accessed by the communication initiated from the Tor network. So you can see basically what you are used to, the method type, subtype, some description, and some additional information you can read in the detail. And of course, there are the attributes, common and method specific, you can use to analyze the event, or in the event evidence, there are some additional information. This is the first method, submethod, sorry, and the second, client direct access. That's the opposite direction. The second use case that I showed, basically when the host from organization network is trying to use Tor network to communicate with some, for example, a malware website or a server, C2 server. So again, you can see basically the information that you are used to, and together with the MITRE ATT&CK mapping, which is different for the both submethods. Okay, so now let's get back. Okay, and so we can see that we have the random domain detection. This is the first domain that was detected. The first domain I try to translate. The second will appear once the event is updated. And yeah, you can see also the information that you are used to that I showed you in the Tor detection. So again, some MITRE ATT&CK mapping. This is actually something that was quite recently added to the solution. And one thing I'm actually foreshadowing this in event evidence. There are two tabs. One is the one you are used to, and this attach flows is something new, but I will talk about that in a little bit.
You're getting ahead of yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. So I will get back to the presentation for now. Okay.
Great news.
Okay. So that were detection methods. There are some other news listed later. I will go through them, but these were the major news in the detection methods area for the ADS 12. And now let's talk about the new tuning options and capabilities. So as I mentioned, the best value comes from the well-tuned system. It is it is good that when you have a lot of detection methods, they can be sophisticated through the roof. But as any other NDR tool, the system needs to be tuned to not overwhelm you with some false positives or some detection that you don't want to know or don't want to see, that are not that they don't have as high priority for you. So over the there is a list of features that we added one of them was added already in the ADS 11.4, but I am mentioning it here because it has a logical continuation in the ADS 12. So that's the first one. We allow now to assign severities per method instances in the perspective configuration. And this is actually allowing you to create multiple method instances and for each assign different severity. So you can have one method instance that is, for example, more strict, configured to be more strict, and you can put it into the higher priority. And then can be second method instance that is not so strict and can be in low priority. You can assign different filters, different data feeds to those method instances. So basically, you can say what part of the network is, for example, more critical for you. And if the event is detected in that part of the network, it will have high priority. If it is detected elsewhere, it has lower priority. So this helps you to focus on what is important. And also, as the event reporting is based on perspectives and priorities, this also helps you to granularly configure the event reporting. So this is something that was already added, is already available. And we took those method instances, and in this version, in the ADS 12, we put it into the false positive rules. So now you can surgically configure the false positive rules. You can assign the rule to specific method instance because you don't want to apply one false positive rule to all the instances as was before, because you could apply the false positive to something that you don't want to mark as false positive. You could miss something important. So now we can surgically configure the false positives. And the false positives got more attention in this version. We added advanced filtering options in the false positives. So now you can easily exclude legitimate traffic from the detection. The false positives actually got a lot of attention over the past releases. We basically rewritten them. We changed how they work. They now filter the flows before they get into the detection method. So it improved M performance, improved the information that you get from the event detail, and we continued with improving false positives in this version. So now you can use autonomous system numbers and fully qualified domain name, basically host names, to exclude some part of the legitimate traffic from the detection. This is actually something that was requested by our customers, and it has quite clear use case. You have legitimate services, legitimate service providers. You use their applications. Most of the customers use Office 365, G Suite applications, Salesforce, or some other ERP CRMs. Basically, those legitimate applications that you don't want to be alerted on. And it could happen because if you are using Office 365, there is some link to some documents. Your employees start work with the documents, they're editing, viewing the documents. It can generate quite a lot of DNS requests. For example, this is just an example use case. And these DNS requests can be detected. And in this case, it's false positive. So now you have two means how to easily remove these detections. You can either use the ASN of the Microsoft. So the Microsoft is defined by some autonomous system number. So then all the flows that are basically mapped to all the basically Microsoft IPs that are assigned to ASN can be now used and to filter out that Microsoft traffic. Or you can use the host name. So you can use *.o365.com, and everything that is that has this kind of host name, sorry, won't be processed by the detection method. So you will not get those false positives anymore. And that applies to all the legitimate services that you are using and that you might detect in the ADS right now as a false positives. So I will show you on the quick and easy demonstration. But before that, I want to talk about another thing. That's what I was foreshadowing, the attached flows. This is actually something that enhances the event analysis. Attached flows I'm not sure if you know, but this is something that we already have in the product. It can be added to the reporting, to email reports, but yeah, it's quite well hidden. Maybe it could be said, but yeah, now we are focusing on this because what is attached flows, or what are attached flows? Attached flows are basically the flows based on which the event is detected. So this provides, or this is the list of flows based on which the event was detected. So if you want to evaluate the event, if you want to evaluate if it was detected correctly and based on which flows, based on which communications, you need to see the attached flows. These attached flows are now in the event evidence. And it's basically the list, the table with the flow, with individual flows. And you might object that we already had that, but what we had before was actually based on the query sent to Flowmon monitoring center, basically to the collector, and the queries were actually, or the filters were actually sometimes too general. So you might have a lot of flows that that were not actually used by ADS to detect event, but were related to the event source or event target. So it had some pros and cons. It could provide you some additional context, but it could also mean that you need to go through more flows that would be needed. So to allow you to go through just those flows based on which the event was detected, we added attached flows in the event evidence. Okay, so let's now go to the demonstration. I will just, okay. So this will be pretty simple, and I will not be using Office 365. I will be using something else because it's much easier to demonstrate. I have found some I have found some blacklisted domain in our blacklist. So I will try to find it before, firstly, and yeah. Okay. I will try to translate this domain that is blacklisted. So we will have detection by the blacklist method that someone tried to translate this domain, and I will also generate some HTTP traffic. Okay. If I already tried this, so these are the events that you can see here. But if we go to recent history, we will just need to wait for a little bit. But before it will show here, yeah, it is already here. So you can see, I will just filter this last event. So first one, the domain translation, it is rather quick. Yeah, I will just open the event detail. We can see that I try to translate this domain. And before I will show you actually the false positive, how we can tune the detection, I will show you briefly the attached flow. So here in the event evidence tab, you can see the attached flows. Now, these are the flows, as I mentioned, that are used by the ADS to detect the event. In this case, in the monitoring center, there also will be, or yeah, there won't be flows because it has some delay that's connected to how the monitoring center or the collector flows. So we will see these flows here in a little bit, but in the attached flows you can see the flows that were used by the ADS. In the monitoring center, you will, for this example, you will see basically the same, but there can be some other detection methods and sub-methods that will contain much more or larger amount of flows, and therefore the attached flows might be better for you to analyze the event. There is just one limitation for now. The attached flows, it is limited to 20, but we are already trying to figure out or or are considering how to increase the number. It has some limit. It has some impact to the storage requirements and also a little bit of to the performance. But we want to basically, our goal is to make some reasonable default and allow you to change it if you need. If you need to change it. So there will be option in the future releases to increase that number of the false positives. Right, so let's check if we have the second detection. Yeah, so this is what I did with the NS lookup. This is what I did with the curl CURL. And now if I want to, and let's say this is legitimate traffic. I'm not saying this is legitimate traffic, but let's say it is. This is just for the purpose of the demonstration. So before I do that, I will basically check this IP address. I get the general information. From this, I can get the autonomous system number. So if I decide to filter it by ASN, this is something that I copy. And here in the new false positive rule, I will easily create the false positive. As you can see, the method instances are here. This is new in the ADS 12. You can select the method instance for each false positive rule and each detection method. So I put this default, and here in the more options, you can see the advanced filtering parameters. And these are the new things that I mentioned: autonomous system numbers and host names. There are some prerequisites, let's say. So flow needs to have the ASN number, but if you are not sure if you qualify to that, or you can use that, there are some notes that you can read, and it will basically lead you to the configuration, how to configure the system to allow you use this information. So this is the copied ASN. I add it here, I save it, and I created the false positive rule. And now if I do the same, no, the events won't be detected anymore. Before I do that again, I will just restart the method instance, because if I would not create the false positive and I would not restart the method instance, the event would be just updated and not created as a new. So something that I will do, and yeah, basically we won't see anything new here, but yeah. Usually there would be some delay that would cause that we don't see anything new, but you can trust me, we will not see anything new here, and we can wait for 5 minutes, because I use the ASN to define which flow data will not be processed by the blacklist detection method. So I excluded the ASN to which this IP address is mapped, and now no flow from this ASN. It will be more IP addresses will be used for the detection. This is just a simple. Oh, this now, yeah, domain. This is one example. What is shown here. The DNS traffic does not have the ASN, so yeah, this flow will go through, but the web will not be shown. This is actually something that I can show you here. When I played with it yesterday, when I was creating this demo, this is the autonomous system number, the same one, and you can see that it matched to the flows that I was trying to get through. Okay. And again, the DNS is there because it doesn't have the ASN number in the flow, but the web, the HTTP traffic has it, so therefore it won't be detected. Okay, so let's now go to the rest of the presentation. There are the other news in the ADS. For the more skilled users that can create their own detection methods using our custom patterns. We also added the option to assign micro-attack tactic and technique to that custom patterns. We also focused on other detection methods. This is an example of scan method that we extended with the TCP connect scans, or we increased the accuracy of TCP SYN scan. We also focused on the anomaly method. Now it's behaving much better. The accuracy is increased, and the even detail now provides some more comprehensive information. So you get information on what is going on better. So you will understand better what was detected. We also did some changes to the syscheck method. This is basically a method that informs the user that the ADS is not configured properly because there are too many events. And if there is some detection method that is generating too much events, it will be turned off. Don't worry, those parameters are still, I would say, quite generous. And if you need to change that, you can in the method configuration. And last but not least is the REST API. We revised that and added some endpoints to the ADSS and NMP and syslog reporting. So all the reporting capabilities are available via REST API to configure. All right, so this is everything from the ADS 12, and now let's look what is our roadmap. This is just a mandatory disclaimer information for you, and yeah, I will just go briefly through the roadmap. So what is the next release? It's the ADS 12.1 in this version. This version is planned for the Q3 this year. And in this version, we are taking quite a large bite with the multi-tenancy support. In this version, there will be initial multi-tenancy support, which is actually something that is already supported by Flowmon, but the ADS needs to implement it to have the same level of multi-tenancy, the same level of MSP multi-tenancy. And what it basically is, it's a way how to share one appliance into independent data spaces. So it adds some new layer of administration. So you have super admin that manages the whole appliance, and then you can define the tenants that has individual data spaces, and each tenant can have their own admin and own users. So that's the new layer of user role management. As I mentioned, it is initial multi-tenancy support. So in this version, there are some things that will not be available compared to the Flowmon multi-tenancy, but we plan to address it in the following version. What will be also in the 12.1 is detection method for encrypted traffic analysis. This is the method that will detect encrypted DNS servers that are attempting to hide from the network monitoring tools. So basically the DNS over HTTPS. And this method will also have multiple detection techniques, including machine learning, and will basically will be able to detect the DNS over HTTP servers in the network. We also want to focus on the other detection methods, the current ones. So for example, revision of RDP dictionary method to increase the accuracy, and also provide some new configuration options, namely to the random domain to the new detection method, basically to allow you to choose if the random domain should be detected over the DNS protocol, HTTP protocol, or both. So for some of you, DNS random domains, DNS lookups might not be as important as the HTTP traffic. So we want to provide you, for example, the means to create new method instance. One will be for the DNS traffic, one will be for the HTTP traffic. And together with the method instances and perspectives, you can put the random domain with over the HTTP to critical or high severity, and the random domain with the DNS to, for example, low or informational. So yeah, this is something that will be available in this version. After that, ADS 13 will be released. In this version, we will provide the full multi-tenancy support, so basically on the same level as the Flowmon has. So the missing features from the 12.1 will be available in this version. We will also introduce new detection methods for OT environment. So detection method for ICS and SCADA protocols. These detection methods will introduce multiple detection algorithms based on which the anomalies will be detected. For example, clustering algorithms, probabilistic automata, and statistical models. And they will be used to detect anomalies for Modbus DNP3, IEC 104, and Goose protocols. And last but not least is a new collector engine support. So if you attended the webinar with the Flowmon 12 news last week, you know that the Flowmon 13 will introduce new collector backend engine that will provide some great news or benefits like increased performance or support for some IPFix extensions by just changing the configuration file without the requirement of changing anything in the code. So this is something that we need to adapt to, but it is not just about adopting and supporting this new collector engine. We also want to put some of the ADS functionality into this collector engine because it can provide us multiple benefits. It can help us with the more precise flow pairing and the duplication. It can provide us with more precise proxy correlation, and these all will help us to improve the accuracy of the detection of the detection methods and the detected events. So that's also some of the big news that will benefit, from which the customers will benefit a lot. Okay, so
super.
That's basically everything that is from the roadmap and from the ADS 12 news. So now it's time for your questions. Do we have any?
Oh, sure. Great news, Martin. Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. I think there's been a lot of great news. So with that, let me allow the audience to, you have the option to ask any questions in the Q&A format, but now we are at the end of the presentation. So if you also want to, you can click the raise hand button on the Zoom panel, and I can then unmute your microphone and we can have a discussion as well. So before we get to that, let me just get to the Q&A section and check some of the questions. So we've got two questions from Florin Sveti. I hope I'm not butchering your name. I apologize. So the first question is, how many of the MITRE techniques are covered by the ADS?
Well, I don't have the exact number right now, but yeah, it can be if you have version 11.3 or 11.4, it can be actually seen in the dashboards and reports. We actually have preset to create such report, and you can also add the metrics widget to the dashboard, and in that metrics widget you will see the tactics on the x-axis and the techniques in the y-axis. And yeah, you can see what we do support, because that matrix actually shows how many events were detected and mapped to that particular tactic and technique. So I don't have the number, but actually we can see that quite quickly if I go to the dashboards and reports. This is quite fresh machine, so I'm not sure if I already have the dashboard here. But yeah, we can just create a predefined SecOps dashboard. And in this predefined SecOps dashboard, this is the number of tactics and techniques that we are supporting. Don't mind the numbers. This system is not well tuned because it's quite fresh. And just for demo purposes, so these numbers are quite high. But yeah, this is the widget that you can add to the dashboard, and you can see actually provide some representation of the current security situation, and it is also interactive. So if you are interested in some of the tactic or technique, you can click on it. You will get to the ADS. And there is also added specific view on the events by MITRE ATT&CK, so we can see the tactic and the techniques here, and you can see the individual events that you can then analyze by clicking on the ID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the number, and of course it's not the whole MITRE ATT&CK metrics, because some of the techniques cannot be detected from the network perspective, for example. Yeah, so so some of those are not even possible to be detected, and yeah, we try to cover as much as possible, but yeah, of course it has some limitations.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, thank you, Martin. I mean, last time I checked the MITRE ATT&CK website, there has been over 250 different tactics and techniques. So, and it covers the broader spectrum. So yes, whatever we can capture and then on the network level that allows our solution to do so, we do that. Okay, thank you. And another question from Florin was anything related to detect DGA that go over DOT and DOH? So
so the DNS over HTTPS the purpose of this detection method is to point out that there is some traffic and that there are some servers that are providing this service. We will still not see into that traffic, but we will be able to tell that there is something like that in your network, and you should probably take a look on that because it can be against the policies. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Martin. Looks like more questions are popping up. So we have a question from Roman on the Tor detection method. So the question is, Tor detection method is based on Tor exit nodes or other types and combinations of suspicious communication detection method?
Yes, this is based on the Tor exit nodes in combination with some other traffic characteristics to basically put it into the right, let's say, submethods to provide the right context. We need to to tell you that this is something that is ongoing, that is incoming to the public servers, etc. But yeah, it revolves around the exit nodes. There are some other possibilities how we can extend the Tor method, but that's just for the future consideration.
Excellent, thank you. We have another question from Zoltan. Is the positive false configuration possible to exclude a full domain? For example,
yes, I will just briefly show that. So I'll just get to the false positives. So there was, in the question, I saw that there was asterisk.microsoft.com, and this is actually completely available. You can actually use the asterisk on the, in the beginning of the domain or at the end or from the both sides. So this is available. So once you have asterisk progress.com, everything that's come before that is basically matched to the rules, so will not be processed by the detection method. There's just one limitation I want to mention in these host names. This matches the flows that has the hostname field in it. So that's DNS traffic, HTTP traffic, and HTTPS traffic. These flows will be excluded. But if there is some DNS request and then the traffic would not be HTTP, HTTPS, or DNS, this traffic will not be like excluded. This applies to just DNS, HTTP, HTTPS. If you want to exclude all the traffic that is from the Microsoft, I would rather use the autonomous system number.
Super. Excellent, thank you. So another question is from Christoph. Is ADS taking over the DDoS Defender work in the future?
Currently, it is not planned.
Okay, thank you. And another question from Florin regarding the DGA over DOH. How will that work?
I think that's the same questions from the previous. That's the previous question that I already answered. So we will not see into the DNS into the HTTPS traffic. We don't do any decryption. We will, with the DOH detection method, we will just point out that there is such communication and such servers in the organization network.
Super, thank you, Martin. We have another question. Random domain method is based only on query or also based on response? NX domain.
It is based on the query. It is based on the DNS question name, let's say parameter.
Super, thank you, Martin. We have another questions from Pavel Hradilek. Will you plan to add an email notification? Notification comes from ADS, some fields from BI flow directly example as autonomous system for a source and destination IP or hostname or HTTP hostname?
This is something that was, I think, requested by the customer, but currently it is not planned into the version. But yeah, I know that this request exists. I'm aware of it. We already had some discussions about it, but yeah, it's for the future consideration, not currently planned to any version.
Okay, thank you. And we have another question from Alex. Hello, when will be available SCP protocol support for Backupscopy instead of Samba protocol?
This question will be need to answer it offline. I'm not sure what is the plan. This is more for the Flowmon. I will ask Flowmon PO if they plan it. So we will take this offline.
Okay. We have another questions from Robert. Where are those newly available flows attached to ADS events stored? Are those automatically stored for all relevant ADS methods, or we need to disable those?
Yeah, these attached flows, I will show you. This is available in the settings, system settings, and storage options. This is the checkbox basically for the attached flows, and this is turned off by default. Even after the update, it is turned off. So if you are interested to have the attached flows in the event evidence, so basically, if you are interested in this, you need to turn it on. Yeah, this just it is described in the release notes that this is turned off by default. It's also, there is also a reference where it is turned on, but yeah, it's good to mention that this is turned off by default, can be turned on, and after that it will be in the event evidence.
Super, thank you, Martin. And another question from Florin. Did ADS participated or is planning to participate in the MITRE and Ingenuity evaluation?
No, currently we don't have such a plan.
Okay, thank you. And final question from Florin. It looks like it was a follow-up to the previous question, so I hope we will be able to answer it. It only says SNI based.
SNI, it is something in the HTTPS. So if you are talking about the hostname and the false positives, hostnames and the false positives. So I will just briefly show that. Sorry. Yeah, we are using the SNI we are using the SNI and adding the SNI to the flows as a host name. So even the flows with this can be excluded if you define it here. So yeah, that's the SNI is used.
Super, thank you. And one more questions from Nicola regarding IDS. Is it planned to have a more browsable interface for these events?
Yeah, we want that. We want IDS event browser basically. We this is not currently planned for the upcoming versions, but yeah, something that we definitely want to add to the analysis. Basically, maybe another tab that would show. So one tab would show ADS events, and second would show IDS events. We want that, but it's not currently planned. Yeah.
Maybe. Sorry if I can jump in.
Mm-hmm.
The question says search options by IP, but there is the browse EDS events feature where you can actually filter by IP. So
I probably misunderstood. I can show that. Yeah. Let's see. Where we have some. So if you have any event, you can do it in the events or in the analysis too. But there is, if you click on these three dots, you have this help, and you can see related IDS events. And if you, sorry, no. That's not it. It's browse IDS events. I will go to analysis and I will show. Will give me a second. The related IDS events are actually from the event detail, but you can have the IDS browser browse IDS events. That's the one. So here, I don't have IDS connected here, but yeah, this is how you can get to the IDS events. It is not. I understand it is not clear for the users. Therefore, we are considering how to improve that. But if you want to get to the IDS events, you just need to click here on the three dots, browse IDS events, and here you will see the IDS events that has this source IP address. If you delete it, you will see all those IDS events. Also, this limit applies, but you can use the filtering, so the time and the source and target IP address to get to the IDS events. So there is a IDS event browser, but it's quite hidden, let's say. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. There is a follow-up question from Florin. I suppose that all the ADS data can be exported to my CM taxi format or JSON.
To integrate with CMs, we have option to do that via syslog messages, and we support the CEF. It's how is that called? Yeah, there is a format that is supported, and we export the messages to CM via syslog messages. So there are options how to integrate with CMs.
Mm-hmm. Super. And the follow-up question is from Florin, CSV, if we can export into the CSV format.
We can also export the events in CSV, but regarding the CM, that's not that. It's CEF, I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And another questions from Robert. And where are those attached flows stored? Oh, I think we've already answered that.
Yeah, the attached flows are something that ADS is storing, so the ADS store quota is used for that, and that's also why we consider to increase the attached flow numbers, or why it's also default on to do not eat up a lot of storage. But we want to consider increasing the number nonetheless. But yeah, we need to find what is the reasonable amount of attached flows that can be stored for our customers. And I think it can be configurable. It will be configurable, but as of now, we are just evaluating the impacts of the attached flows.
Super. And we have another question from Zdeněk. When the Mitra attack widget will be implemented?
The Mitra attack widget is actually available in stable version. So this is actually available currently in the stable version. I think we already added it into the ADS 11.3. So the last was 11.4. That's the last stable, and in the previous version we added this Mitra attack widget. It is possible that in ADS 11.4 it was added to the predefined DevSecOps dashboard, but it is all, you can add it by manually from the 11.3. And also, if we are talking about the MITRE, we can see that there are some dashboard chapters predefined, so we can create some reports, PDF reports that will be sent to you. It is basically this widget that can be sent to you via the PDF report. It can be also configured that it will show only the tactics, not the techniques, so the x-axis. And then there are chapters for individual tactics. So basically the view I showed, if you click through to the ADS, we have chapter that looks basically like this. So for each tactic, you will get the list of events. This is also available in the reports.
Super, thank you, Martin. And we had a follow-up questions from Robert regarding the attached flow in ADS. What happens when storage is full for ADS?
There's a general mechanism that just rotates the old data. So yeah, so when this is the same in the collector FMC, if the storage is full, the old data are rotated. So you will so all this data are deleted basically. There are some parameters how it is done, but this is how it works.
Okay, excellent. Looks like we got through all of these questions.
Okay.
We have nothing else, so I guess this is the end of the webinar. So Martin, thank you very much for delivering a great presentation. I think this is all exciting news for our customers. We've answered all the questions. The ones we can't, we will follow up in the email later on. And it was a pleasure.
Yeah, me too. Thank you to Philip, and thank all the attendees for your attention.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.